Time check, 1 a.m.
1:37.
To understand how we got to this point, let's look back at how we collected our sample. To start, we donned our gloves and lab coats, or in my case, a reflective vest, in order to begin our dig. We first used our measuring tape to map out an area of 4 feet by 4 feet. Now, the reason for this is to ensure the ease of extraction of our sample. But we will soon find out that maybe 4 feet by 4 feet wasn't as big as we thought it would be. Now, instead of showing you the hours of footage we have of our dig, here is a quick montage of the entire process.
1 hour later. Two hours later.
After hours of digging, we had finally reached the 1 meter mark as required for our sample. Next, we were to mark out the size of our samples, which were to be 10 by 10 by 10 inches and 4 by 4 by 4 inches. However, we opted to measure for bigger sample sizes in order to have more leeway when it came to the carving portion of our collection. After a short but well-deserved break, we were finally back to work, and after an hour or two or so, we had finally carved out the first of our samples. Now, carving was easy, however, removing it from the actual site was the difficult part as it was quite hard to do. However, again, after some extra elbow grease, we had eventually managed to collect both our samples as shown here. As you can see here, both our samples are still pretty rough around the edges, so while I carve them out to make them look a little bit prettier, let me hand off the next section to my group mates, Hafsha and Armstrong.
And now, we will be walking you through the step-by-step process of preparing wax-sealed samples. First, place the wax into the pan and gently heat it over the portable stove. Continue heating until the wax fully melts and turns into a liquid form.
While the wax is melting, prepare the mold for your samples using tiles. Arrange them carefully, making sure the borders are not too thick or too thin, so the wax layers will form evenly. Once the wax is fully melted, check for any stray candle wicks or impurities. Remove them to ensure a clean pour.
Now, carefully pour the wax into the mold, one layer at a time. Pour slowly to avoid air bubbles, and continue until the entire sample is covered. Be sure to also seal the bottom of the sample for a strong, uniform finish.
And that's it. Your samples are now properly sealed with wax and ready for the next stage, which is to further seal it with cling wrap and of course labeling the samples as well.
After a long and grueling process, we were finally able to submit our samples to the soils lab the very next day. And after finally being cleared by our lab technician, Sir Johan, we can safely say that our sample collection process was complete.